Hello and welcome back to the Honest Business Podcast. I hope you are very well. Today's episode is slightly different. I'm going to talk about hiring a strategy expert, i.e. me, and what those options are. What does that look like? Going to kind of really deep dive into the different offerings I have and how you can work with me, and kind of spending the time to break it down with you so that you can work out what option is the best for you and kind of what makes the most sense. And yeah, I think this is an episode that, well, we're going to reference people to so that you can kind of listen to as and when you're making your decision. But if you're a regular listener and maybe you don't work with me and you're like, I'm kind of interested in what she does and I don't know whether I do want to work with her or not, this can be a fantastic episode for you. So how this is going to work is very simply, I'm just going to talk you through the offerings that I have and we'll go through one by one kind of what you get out of it, who's it for, the usual kind of stuff. And hopefully at the end, maybe you might want to work with me and you're like, oh my goodness, this is what I needed to work out what was the best option. Something to note at the top of this is, if you get through this and you're still like, I don't know which option is the best for me, you can of course reach out on Instagram at may.james_ to find me. But you can also go to our website, www.mayjames.com, and there is a quiz where you can find out what the best option might be for you via the quiz. It is free to do. You don't have to give me your email to get a response. It's literally just like on there and you answer some questions. It takes about a minute and you will get a response. So that's an option. The other thing to mention in terms of working together, I'm going to talk you through the 4 main services that I have and that I offer, 3 of which are on a one-to-one capacity, 1 on which is on a group capacity. But there is also worth mentioning that I am available for speaking. So some people, want to work with me in the capacity of hiring me to speak with their community, their group, their clients. Maybe you have an event. That is, something I am open to. And I do, I would say once a quarter, every so often. So I'm very happy to travel. I travel around the world. I'm happy to kind of come and find you wherever you are to support your communities. I cover a variety of different topics. I particularly love keynoting. I'm happy to be on a panel, etc., etc. I love keynoting. I love talking about strategic growth planning, leadership, sales, pricing, business models, business structures, product suites, product offerings. There's a whole host of stuff that we can cover, but I tend to create keynotes specific to your event and your needs and the people who are coming. It's all about the people who are coming. So that is an option. And if you want to do that, you can reach out at press@mayjames.com and we can start conversation there. But moving on from that, let's talk about the 4 main offers of ways of working with me. So we have one-to-one consultant and advisory services. This is my private practice. This is where people get the most of me. It is where we really partner up. It's where you have me in your business. It's where that you do incredible, amazing, fabulous things and we are on a journey together. It is a 6-month process. What happens is that is a 6-month initial process, and then at the end of that you get to choose what you want to do and continue with. If you want to, you don't have to. At that point people move to 12-month retainers. Whether they want to, depending on what they need, it's slightly more flexible as to what they can have, but initially it is a 6-month program. Within that 6 months, you go on a real journey. We have a fantastic onboarding process and phase 1. So it's split into 3 phases working with me in this way. We have phase 1, which is month 1, which is where we meet either in person or virtually. We spend about 4 hours together going through lots of strategy stuff. Prior to that, I do an audit of your business. You will complete some information for me. I will be trawling through all sorts to do with your business and, pulling together things, auditing things, coming up with a plan in my head of what I kind of want to look at before we even meet. That plan can completely change at the point in which we meet, but it's nice for me to come into that with something. We then spend 4 hours together. As I say, you can come and do this in person, which is fantastic, and have a fantastic time. And we really dive in and create a kind of strategy from that and your growth plan. Then from that, I will actually physically write a brief document. This is not a full-blown growth strategy. You will not be getting like a 40, 50, 60-page growth strategy, because I'd argue you don't necessarily need one, in the sense if you have me on tap for the next 6 months. However, if for a particular reason you want that, or a business particularly needs it, you can upgrade to that, and that's an additional fee. However, you will receive a document that has kind of things that we've spoken about and what our plan is and what our roadmap looks like for the next kind of 5.5 months together. Following that time together, you will then see me 2 weeks later and we will kick off our regular calls, which is really fun. Now, this is all explained on the application page, which will be linked below. So if you want to kind of read it and see a visual, then you can do. And this is when phase 2 kind of kicks in. Now, it's worth noting, from the point in which you onboard with me, you will have me in Voxer, which is an app, which if you're not familiar with, is like WhatsApp, but basically for business. And you can kind of voice note backwards and forwards. It's very, very handy. It's very good. And you have me on that for the whole duration. So that is where only the people who are in my really close private client circle get to enjoy and get to hang out. You're not in a group, you're separately, individually with me. I am in there once a day for you, Monday to Thursday. And that is really where you honestly have, a director, a consultant, an advisor, an executive in your pocket at all times for me to be at the end of the phone whenever you need something. And that is so valuable. I can't tell you the value that can bring. It's immense. So that is there for the whole duration. And then we begin with a kind of monthly pattern to some degree where you will join me twice a month and I will see you for an hour over Zoom and we will go through and kind of dig into a lot of things. We will dive into huge amounts of different bits and pieces. Some of that will be strategic, some of that will be planning, some of that will be firefighting if we need to do that, some of it will be managing things already existing in the business, a lot of it will be reflecting and looking at progress and looking at data and looking at where we're going and how do we kind of move forward with that. Those sessions are very much dependent on what you need. And this is why this container is an all-inclusive container, and it's also a container that grows with you and is malleable to what you need. So I'd argue that every single one of my private practice clients use this container in a different way. Some people use Voxer all the time. Some people don't use it at all. Some people have, certain sessions that look a certain way and other people don't. It is totally available for you to make it how you need it to be. And this is what's really unique about it, because there's not many people who can do that for you. I have built a business model where my one-to-one private practice is the kind of hub of my business and everything else has to work around it, which is kind of fun, right? And is a complete opposite to a lot of other people. And I just chose to do it that way because I felt passionately that that was what was good and that's what I fancied doing. So there is a lot of kind of excitement around how that works and how do we develop it to suit you. Your calls will typically either be on a Wednesday or a Tuesday. You will be given kind of like a slot, and we can find a slot that works depending on my availability. And we tend to keep the same slot to keep things simple. If you are someone who the 2 meetings a month feels a bit heavy and you're like, oh, I'd much prefer just a 2-hour meeting in one sitting, that is something we can potentially look at. It depends on my availability at the time. And obviously you might be listening to this in however long and however recent to when I'm recording it. That is something that is a potential to happen, but you need to reach out and ask me about that, and we can try and make that happen for you. That is particularly good if that won't work for every business. It's good for you if you are someone who's very much an implementer and you want to have spend an hour reviewing your month, looking at where we're going, understanding what's working, what isn't, and then spending the other hour either, firefighting, doing anything we need to do, find solutions for, and then also growth planning, looking ahead, creating strategy. There's if we create structure somewhat to the sessions to make it work for what we need for you in your business. I will be able to advise you better on that once I have you and your business top of mind, front of mind, whatever the saying is, and really kind of advise on how I see the best kind of situation to go through. In amongst that, you then also get access to 45 minutes of my time every month in a done for you capacity, which is really cool, right? So this is where you can have me audit things, review documents, create documents, review a process, look at something, tweak things. It is very much a hands-on approach. These are hours or time that you use or lose. So every month you get 45 minutes. If you don't use it, then you kind of lose it. And that is so handy to have because I can do a lot in 45 minutes. 45 minutes is a lot of time in terms of me actually hands-on doing something. Just for an example of things that we create, if someone needs a certain document, a certain spreadsheet, a certain resource, like I will then personally sit and make it if it's something that I know, I can add a really bespoke element to. So the reason I offer that is because it gives you, again, this real bespoke experience. This isn't just let's have a lead tracker that is from my bank of this is the May James lead tracker. This is about how do we create something that works for you and your business, that the team can adopt, that can be used across platforms, integrated into your CRM or integrated into your project management system. It is a huge, huge benefit of working with me that is just not available from a lot of other people. And that is where I argue the real consultant comes in, because you actually get done for you stuff. Now, the kind of worth mentioning with this container, you essentially get 3 kind of roles in one investment. So that's why we call it an all-inclusive investment, because you get access to a C-suite level strategy consultant. I am talking it's a CEO essentially, in the sense of you will always be the CEO of your business. But if you want someone with a skill set of someone you would hire as a CEO to run your business, that is me. And so you get that in the form of a strategy consultant, which the power of that is just immense. You also then get me in a leadership coach capacity. So for your team dilemmas, for everything that's going on, for your growth, for your, public speaking, if it is even that, not saying that I'm coaching you on public speaking. What I'm saying is that if you have got big goals and big development things that you want to do, I am the person there who can coach you through that. You then also get access to a growth advisor, a scaling advisor, which is massive. So, that's when you need somebody to be like, right, what do you think about this? How do you think this? How would you go about this? Is this making sense? How do you see 15 years from now? What does the 15-year process look like for me? What does the exit look like? What am I doing? What is the legacy piece? That comes from an advisor perspective versus a strategy consultant perspective, because from a strategy consultant perspective, it is a lot more based around the doing. And so those are different roles. The joy is that you get the benefit of those 3 things, and I can sit in different things depending on what you need, and it depends on different, points of your journey. And over the 6 months, that's going to change, and you're going to need different things from me. And the joy of that is that you get that, which again, quite unique, quite useful, amazing. So that is kind of phase 2. Then what will happen is at phase 3 is towards month 6, which is where you will get access to something called the CEO Video Vault, which is a portal. It's like a learning portal. It is not a course. It's a portal of videos that you get access to. That is an ongoing project in terms of it being developed. There is, I don't know how many videos are in there currently, quite a few videos in there currently, and they cover key leadership topics, not only just leadership, but a lot of kind of leadership based across a variety of business functions, from strategy, from operations to mindset stuff that multiple times have come up in conversation from leaders, from clients, from people who are asking similar questions. And so there is things in there to support you that you can continue the learning journey after this experience is finished, which is a really great option. At that point, as I mentioned before, as part of phase 3, we will talk through what makes the most sense for you in terms of progressing, in terms of do we want to continue working together? Is it a fit? Is it working? Do we still have areas that we need to work on? Where does our relationship go? It might be that actually you've gotten everything you need, you're fine, you're set up, you can go, that's it, that's all you need. That's cool. I would say the majority of people, choose to continue working with me in some capacity. I mean, I pretty much say everyone does, to be honest. But, and whether that's whether that's that you continue on with the same level of support or whether you continue with a different level of support, that is completely up to you. And there's different options available. And that massively depends on what your goals are and where you're kind of moving to. I have got some clients who are now in their third year of this full one-to-one consultant package, and they continue to re-sign on that because that's what they need, because they're growing really fast and they're scaling, and that is, it suits them where they want to go. So that just depends where we're at, and we decide that together near the time. There's zero pressure around that. You kind of choose what you want to do. So those are the 3 phases of that. But in terms of you thinking about maybe how does this work, or what does this look like, or what are outcome and results, let's just talk through that. So this container is for you to really expand into what is possible for yourself. So this is, yes, it's the strategy. Yes, it's kind of, tactics if you need tactics, if you need support in terms of your leadership, in terms of team and stuff like that. But what this also is a real expensive time for you to think about beyond the day-to-day, to get yourself out of the everyday run-ins and into what does the future look like? What are we planning? What are your, financials looking like? I really dive into a lot of different business areas to make sure that the whole business collectively, holistically, is working. I will look at your P&L. I will pull it apart. I will see, what is the plan? And that's really important, right? Because I am not just coming at this from one angle. We will look at your operations. We will look at your marketing. We will look across the board. And that massively helps you because you start to realize that, like, wow, okay, we do have a handle on this. We do know what's going on. We can see the wood for the trees. We can make progress. We can set goals. We can hit them. You will, in this container, start hitting your goals consistently month on month, and that is going to feel very good to you. You will be like, whoa, okay, yeah, this is interesting. And that doesn't have to be revenue growth. That isn't what I'm always talking about, although revenue growth is a massive result. So if you want to talk about results, revenue growth is huge. Last year every single year the business has been going, all of my private clients have had their best financial years to date when they've been working with me, like every year. I am, the revenue growth is a given almost. Obviously, you've got to do the work, but that is not my main focus for kind of the time that we spend together, although it is something that happens. Just for context, clients doubled their revenue, 3 times their revenue, 5 times their revenue, have done massive things with their revenue, took more money out than ever before, started paying themselves really consistently, have added massive processes into their business that has allowed them to, provide certain things for their staff. People have done mega, mega, mega huge things that they never were able to do beforehand. So in terms of the results situation, yes, revenue growth is key, and yes, that is there, but it's also about you as a leader development, you and your mindset development, you as someone who has a vision for that to develop. This is a container that really holds you to a higher standard and really allows you to go on a journey of realizing what it means for you in your role as a business owner. It will let you explore things that maybe you've not explored before, or that you have a desire to, but you don't yet know how to make that happen. That is what this is for. It's a very close-knit working relationship. We will become very familiar with one another in the best possible way, right? And you have someone who is always there. That's what people say to me. It's like, I integrate into your team. I am there. I am present. People feel like they're supported. And as a business owner, that can be immensely scary. It can be immensely draining and lonely and challenging. And I come in and kind of make that a lot better for you. Ultimately, you'll never not know the answer to something, because if you don't know the answer, I will. And I will find you an answer. You will never not know how to approach something or to, deal with someone, because that's what I'm there for. Like, there is so much kind of, it's like an insurance policy to some degree of, always knowing that your back's covered and that you've got someone to turn to. And that is so powerful, because it's not just about having someone to turn to. It's about having the right person, and having the person who understands you and your business and understands the journey and the struggle that you go through, right? I am very real. I'm very deep in understanding what this takes for you. And so it is a very unique kind of relationship. But all I can say is that the people who have gone down this path, have gone down this relationship, have, wanted to continue it because they've found that it's so immensely helpful. We have lots of testimonials available, video ones, written ones. You can speak to people. We have clients who say, if anybody wants to speak to them, let me know, and I'll point them in the direction of, like, you just need to get in touch and be like, hey, I'm thinking about working with you, but I'm feeling a bit apprehensive, or I want to kind of speak to people. That's fine. Like, we can send you whatever kind of situation you need to kind of support you in your decision making. Just reach out to us, support@mayjames.com, or find me on Instagram at may.james_. So yeah, in terms of outcome and result, it very much depends on what you want to achieve, and we decide a goal when we meet. And so that is another thing. It's like, what do you want to achieve? You can achieve something that we've never achieved before with people. That's fine. There's no kind of rule on what you can and can't achieve. It's very much about what we decide and we go after that. But ultimately, your business will be very different than when you turn up to me in a good way, right? It doesn't mean that it looks completely different. I just mean it feels different. It runs different. It's, it's better is ultimately what will happen. Now, pricing. It is hard for me to put a price on these things because in case these change with, you might be listening to this in 4 years time, sorry. However, I will talk about pricing. If it has gone up by the time you're inquiring, then I'm sorry, I can't really do much about that. Right now, it is £15,000 for 6 months. You can pay that either via 1 payment, 6 payments, or 3 payments. It is all explained on the application form. So yeah, pricing wise, that is the price. The thing to note with the pricing that is really cool is that it is an all-inclusive pricing model, which means that I do not take a cut for commission or results-based kind of reward, in the sense of if your revenue doubles or triples, I do not take 10% or 15% or 20% or 5% like other people who, some of the people that do what I do. That is a normal model. I don't do that. The price is the price. Obviously, if you want additional things added on, that is something we can talk about together, but you don't need it for most, 90% of people. You just need to buy this thing. It's 15 grand, it's 6 months. Watch things change. And that's one thing people say to me, yes, it's a lot of money, and some people will also think it's not a lot of money, but the result and the outcome and the change and the amazingness that comes from it, it's worth its weight in gold 10 times, 100%, because this is mega. It's hard to put into words. It's really difficult to explain what this looks like and can do for you, because everyone has a different experience also. But yeah, that is my kind of most closest intimate container you can join, one-to-one consultant advisory. There is an application below. In terms of availability and when you can start, it depends when you're listening to this. Sometimes I will have a space available and you can jump straight in. Sometimes it might be that we have to put you on a wait list. But whatever happens, if you apply via the application form, I will review it and then get back to you, and then at least so we'll be like, yes, let's go straight away. Or it might be, actually, we haven't got a space until a few months. Are you happy to wait? That's totally up to you as well. You haven't made a commitment by applying. You're literally just applying. The one thing I would say is, please don't waste my time. Obviously, I don't waste your time. Your time's precious. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, on the application form, you can put if you want to, if you want to reply but you don't want to start for a couple of months, you can also put that on. And we will do our best to accommodate you on that. It might be actually it works perfectly because you want to start in 6 months and there's a space in 6 months or 3 months or whatever. It just depends at the time. So yeah, if you want to move forward with one-on-one consultant and advisory services, then hit us up, apply, and I will really look forward to getting back to you and starting on this journey and going deeper with you. And it's such a powerful container. I honestly could sit here and talk about it for hours and hours. I've tried to keep it really short. We haven't really covered there's so much we haven't talked about. Actually, let me just finish on this though. Who is this best for? If you are a business who is making 200 grand, 300 grand, 400 grand upwards a year, 500,000, 700,000, a million, and you are on a serious growth mission and you want to double it, or you want to, go from 300 to 700,000, or you want to go from 1 million to 3 million, or whatever your growth thing is, this is for you. This will really, really help you. And I'd argue it's kind of imperative to some degree to have this skill set in your team, in your executive kind of playbook of people to refer to. You want to have me in there. So that is kind of who this is best for. I do sometimes take businesses who are below the kind of 200 grand a year mark in revenue on one-to-one consultant advisory. It is very much person and person dependent. So if that is you and you want to do this and you have the money available, then fine, make an application and I can chat with you and we will work it out and I will let you know if I can definitely help you or not. But yeah, that's the kind of thought process on that. So moving on, goodness me, we're only we're only one service through. Oh my goodness, I hope this isn't too long. Apologies if it is. Right, next up is something called a CEO Strategy Day. What an offer this is. This is incredible, right? So this is, if you want to work with me deeply, intensely, one-on-one, you want all of my expertise that I've just reeled off above, before, but you don't want to work with me for 6 months. You want to have it fast. You need it fast. Maybe you need a strategy really quickly, and maybe you're pivoting your business. Maybe you need something straight away that you want an instant hit from. That is a CEO Strategy Day. It is a 1 month container. We meet in person. You can do a CEO Strategy Day virtually if you wish to. It is slightly cheaper. Let me just come up with the pricing straight away. So right now, it might change, but right now it is £8,000 in person. It's £6,000 virtually. You get slightly different things depending on virtual versus in person. I would argue if you can come and see me in person, it is better. And I just think it's a nicer experience. I'm going to talk through what you get in terms of in person, and if you want virtual details, then just reach out to me, and we can, I can give you those. That the premise of the program is the same, or the premise of the offer and the service, but just the logistics and kind of the little intricacies of what you get is slightly different. So, CEO Strategy Day. This is, I'd argue there's nothing else at the moment that I see people delivering of this nature. So if you're in the online business space, there's a lot of people who have VIP days, strategy days, all those sort of things. And there's a lot, those are available and they're great. If you're someone who's not in that space, maybe you're used to seeing something where you're thinking about, right, I could have strategy and it would be a 1 month project. This basically is, it's a retreat. It's an experience. It's for you to come out of your day-to-day and experience something. And there's 2 parts to this service, right? There's 2 parts of what you're paying for. One part is that you're paying for an absolutely incredible 24 hours, 30 hours, I don't know how long it is, but a period of time for you to get out of your day-to-day. Now, normally we do these in London. If you're somewhere else in the world, we can, I can fly to you. You're gonna have to pay for me to fly to you, but I can come to other places. But typically we do these in London, central London, 5-star hotel, amazingness. You will come on the afternoon and you will check in and you will have such a nice afternoon chilling. All of this is included, by the way. So you need to get yourself there. Travel's not included, but the kind of hotel and everything is all included in the price, and all your food, all your drink, everything. So you come, you will check in. We will meet for dinner. We will go somewhere very lovely for dinner that kind of suits what you like. Any issues? No. Allergies or, intolerances or anything you have, we can deal with that. We can sort it out. We will go out for dinner. We can have a drink. If you drink, if you don't, that is also cool. And have a lovely time and get to know each other over dinner. And then it's a very kind of intimate experience, and it's lovely. It's really, really nice. In the past, we have done tasting menus. We've done Michelin star stuff. We've been wherever you want to go, we'll go, basically. We have a ball. And then we will come back and you will go to bed. And then the next day is where the fun really starts. So the strategy day itself is a long day. It is intense. So if you are, this is not just oh yeah, we'll sit in a room and chat. It's tiring. You're going to be really exhausted by the end of it. So you have the morning to kind of chill out somewhat. We start at 10 a.m. Well, between 9 and 10. It depends what you choose, right? Because included in the price is a photo shoot. So you can have an hour's shoot included. That is optional. So some people don't want that, and that's fine. You don't have to. But if you do want it, it's there. You can use it. We have an amazing photographer who shoots me, and he shoots for Vogue, and he's really great and amazing. Well, we have a couple of great photographers, but our main kind of guy is Mason. And he is just great at what he does. So you can come and have some shots done, which is great. It means you can get a new headshot, whatever else you kind of want to get. That is fabulous. And you do that. And you do that at the start so that we get that out the way. Then we will start together and have the day together. And we really, really focus in on your business. And we will just go deep. So you, again, will decide what you're there to do. So some people will come to this because they want a new revenue stream in their business. So some people are like, right, I want this 6-figure, 7-figure revenue stream in my business. How do we make it happen? And we use the whole time to plan it out, to create it, to make it, write everything we need, work out what is the sales plan, what is the marketing plan. Like, we go from literally one point to the end and completely map the whole thing out and fully understand where we're going. Some people, it might be that they want to totally pivot their business, and so we fully just do a whole business strategy and look at that. Other people, it's that they want to just take what they've got right now and really soup it up and make sure that it's amazing and great and like exactly what you want for it. Other people, it's that you want to really focus in on your team and you start drafting out like team stuff for years and years ahead. That is fine. What you use this day for is completely up to you and does change depending on the client. But I just want to give you some examples of kind of what that looks like and what you what you can expect of sort of things that we can cover. We have lunch in the middle, which is really nice and chilled. We have as many breaks throughout the day as you want to, but it is, very intense. And then at the end of the day, at about 5-6 o'clock, we will go and have a drink together, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, depending on whatever you fancy, whatever your jam is. And then that will be the end of the day, and we kind of end the day off. But at that point, the work then begins for me because I will then, over the next week, write your strategy. In a week's time, in your inbox, you will get a strategy document written by me, which is full on, done for you, growth strategy. And it's kind of like your playbook for success. It's like your kind of, it's just your thing, right? It's like the thing you're going to use for, 12 months, 24 months. It depends on what it is we're looking at. But, 12 months is the minimum, but some people 24 months, 36 months of what does the plan look like? What are your next steps? It has everything in it from like key marketing messages that would be good to use all the way to this is the next plan for the next 12 weeks. This is every single thing you need to do sort of thing. Like, depending on what you need will depend on what you get in the strategy document, but it is like a really meaty piece of work that will really serve you and your business for a long, long time. After that point, you will then meet me virtually on Zoom 2 weeks later to a month later, depending. Some people like to leave it a month, some people 2 weeks. And we will talk through the document. We'll talk through anything you want to change because, after you've had time to decompress and kind of think about things, you might want to shift things. So this is a time you have an hour with me to really like change anything, monitor anything, switch things out, ask me any questions, just fully kind of solidify the plan, update me on what you've achieved, because often by this point people have already achieved amazing things. And that is the kind of package. You also get the CEO video vault, which is what we spoke about before with the one-to-one consultant advisory. That comes into play, and you can, you access that as well. So after the month, like after a 1 month thing, that is you done. What I should have mentioned at the start is that before we meet in person, you will have completed an onboarding form. I will have done an audit of your business. I will come with a whole set of ideas and thoughts and kind of we will discuss what we want to get out of the day. You have an hour call 2 weeks before we meet in person over Zoom for you to fully lay out and for us to get really clear on what do we want to get from the day? Do you need to do any prep beforehand? What do I need to know? What do I need to research? What do I need to understand? Really to grasp a clear understanding of this is the plan, this is what we're going to get out of it. How do we maximize the time? Because I think some people think, well, what can you actually do in a day? Like some people are like, you can't really do that much. In my world, you can literally move mountains in a day. Like you can do a lot of stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, it's huge what you can do in a day, but it's because we're really intentional about the time we're there together and we really make sure it counts. There are a few other things that are dotted in and out as surprises, but I don't want to kind of, I don't know. It's got to be, some of it's got to be unknown, but a CEO strategy day is an immense container. It's a really special place to be, and it's a gift to yourself. Yes, it's very serious in the sense of like, it's really good because you get your strategy and you get this and you get that, but there's also a huge element of it is a really nice time for you to get out of the office, get out of your house and just be you and give yourself some real me time and enjoy the process and have a really beautiful kind of relaxing time. We do them, sometimes you can have one on a Thursday or a Friday, meaning that you can spend the rest of the weekend in London if you're traveling, or, you can make it kind of, you can extend it, I suppose, if you need to and want to. And in terms of availability, we have those dotted throughout the year. There is an application form below. You select the date and day you want. And yeah, we will get back to you on that. But a CEO strategy day is a lot of fun and really exciting in terms of you will leave with an immense uplift. Although you will be tired, you will probably go away thinking, oh, this is so exciting. Or you wake up the next morning. We've had people say, they feel like a whole new woman from it. We've had people say that they've never felt so much clarity. We've had people feel like, they're really connected to where they're going and that they might have felt lost and things like that. When we're thinking about a CEO strategy day, who is it best for? This is quite a variable one, right? You can be pretty much anywhere in business in the sense of some people will even do this if you've got the money when they're starting out because you want to really hit the ground running. That's not typically who I do support people with in this. Typically for this is people who are at the 100 grand upwards mark, all the way, up to whatever, wherever you want to go to. But typically between the 100,000 and the, let's say, 800,000 a year mark, up to kind of 3 mil. Beyond 3 mil, you're probably most likely looking at you needing more than one day. But if you're not at the 100 grand mark, but you want to invest in this, there's nothing saying you can't. It just very much depends on your business. And I would need to kind of look at it and see. But yeah, I mean, strategy day is big. It's a big, amazing gift that you can give yourself. One thing to note from the strategy day, which is important, is that if you want to do a strategy day and then you still want my support afterwards, there is options of what that can look like, which we will discuss at the end of the strategy day should you want to kind of discuss options. You don't have to. A lot of people, they want the strategy, so they come for the strategy. I think what you have to remember with me is that I'm a strategy consultant. I'm incredibly good at writing strategy and creating plans and understanding growth planning. So some people are coming for that, and then the experience is just a fun kind of add-on and gift. But, the strategy is the key thing with this, about giving yourself a roadmap, giving yourself kind of no stone being left unturned. The one thing I will say though is obviously it depends on the size of your business. If you have a business where you've got 30 members of staff and you've got multiple different parts to your business, we might not get through every single bit of your business, but for most of the people listening to this, we will be able to kind of go through, a vast array of stuff on the day. And it depends how deeply you want to kind of dive into stuff. What I would reiterate is, if you are someone who wants to add a revenue stream to your business, and this can be the perfect experience because you can really get a lot out of it. And, we can fully, if you come wanting to add a certain thing to your business, we can spend the whole time doing that, and you'll have a launch plan, a thingy plan, a this plan, a that plan, every single thing. It can all be laid out. We can go through all your worries. We can coach through anything that comes up on the day. We can really kind of dive into things. That is where this really can shine and come into its own. So in terms of booking that, there is an application below for the CEO Strategy Day. Fill the application in. We will be in touch. Okie doke. Right. Whew. This feels like a long one. And you know what? There's so much I could talk about these. Someone will be listening who's done one of these things and they'll be like, you haven't mentioned this. And I'll be like, this is the best bit. And I'll be like, oh. But yeah, if you're interested in any of these offers, go and read the sales pages and find out more about them, and come and message me if you've got questions. I'm really open book. You find me at may.james_, and we can discuss them. If it's something that you're unsure, should you do one-on-one consulting or should you do advisory? I can really kind of advise on what I believe to be the best option for you. Next up is a strategy intensive, which this is the most accessible way to work with me. It is a £2,000 investment currently in February of 2023. As I say, if it's gone up, I'm sorry. It's not my fault. It is what it is. But yeah, strategy intensive is a fantastic offering. This is done virtually, and essentially we are going to assess one thing in your business. Now, it doesn't have to be one thing, but for a lot of people it will be one thing. And what I mean by that is something specific. So it's either we're going to overhaul your pricing strategy. Maybe it's your sales strategy. Maybe you want to look at marketing. Maybe you want a launch plan. Maybe you want to create this 100,000, 200,000, £1 million launch. And so we want to sit and do a launch plan. You also, strategy intensive can be used for new offer plan. Maybe it's for your product suite. Maybe we want to go through and look at your operations and look at you want me to order them and you want me to think, right, this is good, this is not, this is whatever, right? So whatever comes up for you in thinking about, I'd love May's opinion on X thing, I'd love to really dive into sorting this thing out, that is what you use a strategy intensive for. It is essentially, it's strategy based, but it's a very short version. So just for some context, you will fill in a form upon onboarding that I will read and I will understand, and I spend time looking at and kind of looking at your business. We then rock up on a call. It is a 2-hour long call. You have me for the whole 2 hours. We dive into strategy. We will co-create strategy. We will create solutions. Come with all your problems. Come with all the things that seem impossible in your business. I will find you a solution. That is what I do. And ultimately, it's bloody amazing. It's fantastic. A strategy intensive is so, so good and handy. And this can be great for you at any point of business. Again, most of my time I do support people who are, at the 6-figure and above mark. But if you're not, and you want to get to that point, and you're like, I need to get there because I want to do one-on-one with me, but before I get there, I need to get to 6 figures, do a strategy intensive and I can help you to really push to get there, or potentially join the thing that I'm going to come on to after this. So yeah, strategy intensive, you will have a 2-hour call with me. Then at the end of that, I will spend some time writing a very brief document. I must stress this, right? So this is not me writing you a full strategy document. It will not be 40 pages long. It is a brief outline of the notes of the things we've talked about and of your next steps. And you will then use that to go and implement. And that is a strategy intensive in the sense of what you get and the deliverables. In the sense of availability, we have a couple of those available a month, so you can book on whatever suits you and whatever feels right. Again, we have an application form, so you can fill out the application form, and we will, get you booked in as soon as possible. Who is this best for? I mean, this is best for everyone, basically. You can come and we can talk about anything at all you want in here. Some of you, it might be like, I don't know, you want to do more. I know we spoke about public speaking. Like, maybe you want to do more public speaking. Maybe it's the visibility strategy you want to work on. Like, all the different strategy that I can help people with, you can pick a one and we can do it in the strategy intensive. But the one thing I would say that most people choose to do is either product suite and kind of offer work, price and work, which is always a big one, and then like message and stuff. So, like your messaging, what does that look like, your marketing, that kind of vibe, or like a launch plan. Those are kind of the key ones. But if you are someone who sat there with like team issues or hiring problems or whatever, then it's highly likely I can help you. You just choose what you want to dive into and talk about. And a strategy intensive is just great. We had one, somebody did one, well, I'm trying to think, there's a couple, but I was just thinking about, what did someone say? She said something great. She did one and she said, oh, that was it. She solved something that she's been trying to work on for like 5 years in her business. And in 2 hours, we nailed it. And she was just mind blown. Like her brain was just like, whoa. And it was fantastic to watch. It was great to see. But, and that's not me. I'm not saying that to kind of just say like, that's going to happen for you. But I'm just saying that the power of this stuff, like you might look at that and say, oh, that's a lot of money for, you might look at it as it's a 2-hour call. It's way more than that, but whatever. You might say, oh, it's a 2-hour call. That so much can happen in 2 hours with me. So much can happen. And so that is why I'm a real advocate of saying, hey, listen, like take that seriously, get a strategy intensive, watch things change. Like you implement what we do. Like all of this comes down to you implementing. Like a strategy intensive is not going to hugely do much if you don't go and do anything afterwards. But if you're prepared to work and you're prepared to go for it and really make something happen, it's incredible. Like that can change so much in your business. So if you want to join us for that, you can book via the application form. So we're nearly there. We're nearly at the end. We now have a newer edition. So this was something that began last year and we're currently on cohort 2 of, but it's going to continue into the future because it works very well. I mean, it works incredibly well. The kind of way it is delivered is really good and is an exceptional value for money. So if you like a good deal, this might be the one for you. So May's Accelerator is the service that I'm talking about. It is a 6-month group program. It is a growth container. It is going to push you. It is quite the place to be. So let's just talk about this really clearly for a moment. This is a 6-month container. There are maximum of 7 people inside it, so 7 other business owners, and you are in a group together for 6 months. We meet 3 times a month via Zoom for 2 hours. You have me in Slack Monday to Thursday, which again, huge opportunity, huge support system, amazing for actually making sure you grow. And you also get access to course content, which will support you in your learning, which is really key because you can really fast track a lot with that. You also get a few other things like monthly check-ins and things, but that's not like the main premise of the thing is that you rock up and you see me. Now, how this works is it is almost like a mini one-to-one situation. It is not your traditional group thing. We are not learning things on the call. You are coming to me. It is hot seat coaching. You go around one by one. I mean, it's hot seat advisory, really, not really coaching. And you tell me what you're up to. You tell me your issues. We together create a strategy. I co-create. I'm like, right, go and do this. Try this. Have you done this? Blah, 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 blah. It's accountability at its finest. It is really good. It is a fantastic program. And it is something that is very basic, right? It shouldn't work. Well, I know why it works. But on paper, some people will be like, that shouldn't work as much as it does. It works incredibly, okay? We have people in there who are just starting their business all the way up to multi-6-figure on their way to 7-figure businesses. So you come in here for a vast variety of industries, vast variety of markets, different people doing different things, and you are prepared to work. I will not chase you. I am not coming around to like help you, every step of the way. I am there to support you when you need me. You have to be proactive. You have to reach out. You need to ask for help. But I am there to hear what you're doing and then to be like, right, let's go. Let's do this. You come into Maze Accelerate with a goal. You need to have a really clear focus of I want to achieve this or I'm working towards this. And then we go after it. Maze Accelerator is a fantastic space. And I don't know how to communicate it without kind of overselling it because... yeah, I mean, it's just really good. We are currently fully booked, I don't know, full at the moment as of February 2023. Enrollment will open again in June, May time, June time for a July kickoff. In terms of price, I don't know what the price is going to be for that cohort. Right now, in terms of the last 2 cohorts, it was priced at $3,500, which was an incredible price for what you get access to me and how much contact time you get with me. That's like a quarter of my one-on-one, and it's 6 months as well. So I can't guarantee you that it will be that price, but it will be somewhere around that, and kind of increase as we go forward. But Maze Accelerator is an absolutely beautiful place to be. Client results from that have been humongous. Massive revenue growth, team development, hiring problems solved, niches sorted, messaging fixed, operationally people have developed, like people's offers are sorted out, websites improved. Like the scope in which we cover with Maze Accelerator is vast. I mean, you're talking somebody's going to be dealing with website issues, whether the next person's talking about like growing and hiring 3 people. I mean, it's immense in the best possible ways. Some of you are going to listen to that and think, oh my goodness, that sounds horrendous. It is really amazing. It will push you. The whole point of business and you invest in yourself is to be pushed and to be learning. This will force you to learn. It is not the same thing of let's all just sit and we all do the same thing. We all hear the same thing. And so we're all going to regurgitate the same thing. That is not what this is. And it is a fantastic, fantastic space to be in, to be around like women who are just doing really cool things. That is currently on a wait list at the moment. So again, that will be linked below. You need to sign up to the wait list. And what we will do is basically what happens is the people who are in there already will get an opportunity to continue on if they wish to. Currently, we've got people in there. 100% of the people who did cohort 1 converted to cohort 2. And so they chose to continue. Once I know out of the people who are in there right now, who is staying, who is going, it might be that everyone leaves, it might be that nobody does. I mean, that's unlikely. People will, move on. It's just natural that will happen. And then I will know how many spaces I have. And at that point, the first people who will then get a heads up is people on the wait list. So if you are potentially wanting to join this, you need to get on the wait list. And then that will go out. And then if we have spaces available then, which we might do, it will then go to like a public launch. So that is kind of the process for that. And as I said, it's a 6-month offer. The people that this is good for, if I'm honest, ideally it's for people who know what they're doing, right? You've been in the business a while, you're just ready to make this actually work for you, and you're ready for more. So as I say, whether that's you're at the 6-figure mark, multi 6 figures, or whether you're not quite there yet, then fine. I tend to, it's an application only process. So if I'm being honest, what happens is I tend to, how do we say this? Like, if you're at the multi 6-figure mark or the 6-figure mark, you will get a priority in terms of going in, because in order for me to, I just work very well with people at that point, and I can really help you. If you are not currently at the 6-figure mark, that doesn't mean to say you can't join, because we have people in there right now who aren't. But it's a case of you will apply, and then it will be a case by case basis of whether or not I want to work with you, whether or not I feel confident this is the right thing for you. Because it might be that I'm like, actually, you'd be better off going to work with X, Y, and Z person. Like, I have a lot of people in my network who I recommend people to who do what I do, but who are better suited for where you might be or your industry. So apply. There's nothing wrong with applying. And then I can kind of take it from there, because I only want to, have you on board and take your money if I am definitely suited to being the best person to support you. However, that being said, obviously, we do have people in there right now who are not at the multi 6-figure or the 6-figure mark, and that is totally fine. But if you are at the multi 6-figure mark and for whatever reason you don't want to spend, or you can't invest in one-on-one consulting, or you don't have that resource available, the Maze Accelerator is a beautiful place, because I really understand that there is this gap in this of industries in terms of advisory and coaching and consulting, of people just assume that people who have a multi 6-figure business have the cash to and the budget to work with people one-on-one. Now, I know, because of profit margins, because of various different things, that might not be the case. So if that is you, then perfect. Join Maze Accelerator. You can be in a room of a really, interesting conversation. And I think this is something that's really unique, right? You're essentially getting access to conversation that typically is something that you would get in a kind of traditional mastermind style, which you're going to be paying 12,000, 30,000, 50,000 pound type stuff for. You get it in Maze Accelerator for a fraction of the cost and a much more higher level access to me. So, as I say, everything is like dependent on various factors and dependent on what is best for you. But Maze Accelerator is a good option if you're like, I really want to work with you, but I can't access one-to-one consultant advisory. Then Maze Accelerator is there for you. What else do we need to talk about? Is there anything else with Maze Accelerator? I don't think there is. But just to recap, I would say if you are someone who is serious about growing their business, wants a solid advisor, really knows like what they're going for and what's going on, one-to-one consultant advisory is for you. Like, it is the best of the best, gold, whatever you want to call it. Like, it's the place to be. It's amazing. It's incredible. It's fantastic. If you are someone who wants strategy and wants a great time and you want to enjoy, have just an amazing transformational experience, CEO Strategy Day, perfect option, really great, fab, offer. If you're someone who just wants a hit of an immediate support, you need something quick, or you don't have the budget to work one-on-one in terms of advisory or consultant, Strategy Intensive is for you. It's a great option. It's really targeted, really clear, really focused on making sure that you get results. And then if you are someone who likes being in a group, maybe you don't want to do one-on-one, or you don't have the budget, or you wish to kind of learn from others, then Maze Accelerator is a great shout. In terms of other options, I do not have very many other things available. There are sometimes one-off ways to work with me, but those come up, and they come up via Instagram. So follow me at @may.james_. Once a year, we tend to launch a program called Year of Clarity, which happens in November. I do it in Black Friday. Every year is dependent upon whether I decide to do it or not. There is a waitlist if you want to get on that. It's www.mayjames.com/Year of Clarity waitlist, I believe. But we will also put the waitlist link in the show notes as well, so you can check that out. But yeah, and that is like a really, really low cost offering that we offer once a year. It's normally like 400, 500 quid or something like that. It's really cheap. That is, sometimes, well, it has been for the last 2 years available to purchase in November time. apart from that, that is about it. If you want to come and work with me, you can work in that way. If you are someone who has listened to this and you have a really large business and you want to work with me and you're like, I want to do one-on-one consultant, but actually I don't know if that fits for my organization, and I actually want you to support team members and directors, or you want me to bring me in as a non-exec director or something like that, reach out to support@mayjames.com and we can have a chat about that, because we do offer bespoke consultant packages dependent if you need it. Most people don't. Most people, the one-on-one consultant advisory will achieve the goal you want, normally in a much more effective way than you might be used to buying consultant services in. But if you are someone who does need a kind of bigger package or much more extended runway for a project and you want to off the bat work together for kind of 18 months, then reach out and we can make that happen. So thank you for listening. If you got to the end of this, well done. And I'm assuming this isn't the first episode you've listened to if you are at this point. So if by some chance this is the first episode, then go back and listen to lots of the other episodes we have, because we have a wide selection and variety and lots of different bits and pieces for you to dive into. Yeah, I will see you next week for a more normal episode. And until then, take care. I'll speak to you then. Bye.